What's up, guys? It's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I just wanted to jump on here and give a little update on my most recent foster pup, which is Ella. If you have watched any of my content in the past couple of months, you've probably seen Ella at the beginning of every video. I fostered through the Austin Animal Services, which is the city of Austin's municipal shelter. As I mentioned before, Ella was one of over 50 dogs in a hoarder house, and all the dogs were seized. So all the animals are out of that situation. It's not really certain if it was a hoarder situation and an animal hoarding situation, or a animal hoarding and puppy mill situation, but let's just suffice to say it was a hoarder, animal hoarder, and puppy mill situation, because poor little Ella, when I took her on as a foster, they let me know that she was probably the most traumatized of all the dogs. And I'm imagining that's because a lot of the dogs seized were puppies. Ella is about 4 years old, and she is clearly shows evidence of having multiple litters. And so when I went to pick her up, the poor thing, she just acted like she had either never been out of that house or never been out of that crate, which I really hate to think about. Every time anyone would go to touch her, she would pull away. If she was in a corner and she let you touch her, she would flinch. She was not a fan of any people, and who could blame her? So she was not doing well in the shelter, already being traumatized. A dog like that is not going to present well to the public, and so is going to have a harder time getting adopted. That doesn't mean that the perfect person isn't out there right now looking for that exact dog, because I've seen it happen too many times. So they decided that Ella would need an experienced foster, and they put out a plea, and I answered it. And at first they said, oh, she's actually got some adoption interest, because people would see her on the website, just a picture, and she's just lying there, and she's a little dog. She's under 20 pounds, and those dogs go like that. Everybody's looking for a smaller dog. So that's why she got adoption interest. And everybody that came to meet her got the same reception. She was terrified, and she would just run and try to get as far away from them as possible. And unfortunately, that's not how dogs get adopted. So little Ella needs extra help. And that is one of the amazing things about the modern day shelter industry, particularly in the United States. With technology, so many shelters are now partners with each other. And there are even charity organizations, nonprofits, where pilots with small planes will volunteer to fly dogs around the country. If there's another specialty rescue that has what a certain dog needs, they can move them, et cetera, et cetera. And being on the Austin, Texas, City of Austin budget, the Austin's Animal Services does have connections and resources to help her along. So Ella's case is not, unfortunately, it's not that uncommon. We see a lot of traumatized animals. However, when I brought Ella home, she wanted no part of me. I have like an X pen in my office, and I cover it with blankets and pillows inside and make it nice and cozy like a den. And so I put her in her den, and she stayed in there for an hour. And then I opened the gate, and she was not aggressive toward my dogs at all. She just didn't want to be touched. But she immediately just made a beeline into my roommate's bedroom, onto the corner of her bed, and that was her spot. She just made it clear that was her safe spot, and she was not budging from that spot. Now, Ella's breed is a Schipperke, which is a Belgian working dog, and they are known to pick their person and lock in, and just they have that one person, and that's who they want to be with. And for whatever reason, Ella just latched on to my roommate. And my roommate is an older lady, and she has MS, so she doesn't get around as fast as other people. And I don't know if Ella sensed a kindred spirit or what. My roommate says she does, so I'll take her word for it. So for the past couple months, my roommate has been pretty much teaching Ella and helping her overcome her trauma, and I would help as well. And we got Ella to the point where she adores fetch. She goes out in the yard multiple times a day, fetch, fetch, fetch. She will fetch in the house, outside the house, doesn't matter. She lets me pet her. She asks for belly rubs now, which when a dog shows you its belly and is asking for pets, that is such a good sign, because no dog, no animal is going to show their belly and expose their vulnerability if they don't trust you. So she got to that point, and then finally she let me pick her up. And most of the time when I would be having her on camera, I'd be like holding her like, please don't jump out of my arms, because she is just learning to be in her body and be around people and dogs. And it really seems like everything is new to her, which just breaks my heart. And so as the months went by, Ella is assimilating into the household, into the routine, into the pack. My dogs are on a pretty strict routine. Like, they can tell time. They know when it's time to eat. They know when it's time for their snack. They just know. And so Ella picked up on that. My dogs taught her a lot about being a dog. And so we were ready to start walking her on the leash. I had been told that because of her situation, she did not know how to walk on the leash. Well, over time, we found out that there's a little bit more to it, because I could put the harness and leash on her, pick her up, carry her outside, just walk across the street, and then put her down on some grass. And the minute her paws touched the ground, she would flip out. The only thing I can compare it to is that Tasmanian Devil cartoon, but it was just a absolute panic, fight or flight freak out. You could smell her fear hormone. It was really bad. So I don't know what that's about, and I have never come across that before. Let's all remind ourselves that no one is the top foster of any organization. We all work together. What strengths one foster has, another person may not be so strong in. And so that's why it's so important to get as many people to help as possible. And Ella is now the second foster in all my years of fostering that I got to a point where I felt like she was starting to regress, because she had developed a really unhealthy obsession with my roommate. We tried to get her to sleep in the crate. She would throw a fit. If she doesn't want to be in a crate, that's fine with me. I never crate my dogs. But I try to keep her in my room, because I want all the fosters to sleep in my room. And she would panic and scratch at the door. And I mean, like, get me out of here kind of scratching. She'd go to the windows, which makes me think she knew the window was a way out in that house. Jesus. But yeah, I want to say I kind of hit the wall at the limit of what I feel comfortable my skill set is. And that's an important thing in fostering. No one is a dog whisperer. No one is required to be a dog trainer to foster. You learn as you go, and many shelters have incredible free classes that you can take in dog behavior and cat behavior and whatever. So I'm knowledgeable, and I've been doing this a long time, and I tend to take medical cases and babies because nobody wants those. It's too much cleanup. But regardless, it's important as a foster to know when it's time to wave the white flag and ask for help. And like I said, it's only the second time that I have had to admit that I am not everything this dog needs to become adoptable. And that is the end goal, is to get every dog to a place where they present themselves as their self, their real self, not their traumatized self, not their shelter self that's sleep deprived because of all the noise. And that's where fosters are most valuable. So I spoke to the foster team and the animal care team, and we all decided amongst ourselves that the best thing for Ella would be to take a break from my house. There's an entire behavior team at the shelter that can work with her, and they will also be looking for several other foster homes to pass her back and forth. I've done that once before with one other dog, and it was a small female dog, a puppy. Sorry, guys. She'd been dumped out in the woods because she was paralyzed from the waist down. And so someone was breeding those dogs and she couldn't be sold, so they tossed her. Well, this little pup screamed bloody murder until someone heard her and came and got her. And she ended up at Austin Pets Alive. And they ended up amputating both her back legs, and just so much care and time and effort went into this little girl. And being that she had to wear diapers and stuff, she was, kind of labor intensive as far as fostering goes. And so there were about 3 of us that passed her back, to give each other a break. And that's one of the beautiful things about fostering. There is always a backup. And even if Ella is at the shelter for a few days or a week while they find a new foster for her, that gives her much more visibility to the public, because I have not received one single adoption application on her since I've had her, and that's rare. But I was very honest in her biography, because the foster, at least at AAS, the foster writes the dog's bio because the foster knows the dog best. And so when we decided the best thing is to bring her back and let the behavior team reassess where she's at, because she has come a long way. And that is the thing that I try to hold close to my heart, because I didn't have any crates. I had already returned my crates a couple of weeks ago. So I just carried her. I mean, she's little. So I carried her outside. We were waiting at the door they told us to wait at. And, Ella's got a heavy black coat, so she was getting overheated. So I just brought her into the lobby and sat down and waited for the vet tech to come and get us. And she was not shaking. She was not on tense, on high alert. She was panting, which means the jaws relaxed, and just kind of looking around. Not phased. I mean, we're in the lobby of this big animal shelter with noise and other dogs, and she was unbothered. And then I was really worried about passing her to a different person to hold her. No problem. She was fine. He took her. She was calm. And that was man, that's huge progress. So I may not be the person that has Ella when she finds her people, but I will certainly keep track of her on the Austin Animal Services website. And I can always email the foster team and just check in and see how she's doing. So I guess the moral of the story is that you should never feel like you have to do it all if you volunteer with animals. There are always other people that are fresh, that can come along and bring what they bring to the table to that animal's journey. So I'm thrilled that my roommate and I got to be the first step on Ella's healing journey, and I will look forward to finding out how her story turns out. And of course, there is every possibility that if she's still not adopted, she could come back here eventually. It's just they wanted her to go to different people so she would get accustomed to different people, different voices, and learn in multiple places that humans are okay. So anyway, that's what I got for you today, guys. If you made it to the end of this video, I also wanted to just take a real quick second. I didn't put out any real content midweek this week because I found out Sunday night that a dear, dear, dear old friend of mine passed of a rare form of leukemia. And man, you can know it's coming for years, and it's still just shocking when it happens, when you find out. So if you are so inclined, please spare a thought for Marco, who is making his way to his next life. And thanks for listening to that. I am so thrilled for everybody who stops by to hear me talk shit on the internet, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.